Welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Glad that you could join us once again today. Our guest on the program today is Mr. Rick Schrader. He's living with ATTR Amyloidosis. It's a rare disease, and he's going to talk with us about his understanding of the disease, his diagnosis, and how he's dealing with the disease today, especially after using ONPATTRO, the recently FDA-approved drug from Alnylam. Welcome to the program, Rick.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I understand that you're about 60 or so, and you were diagnosed with this rare disease. What is this disease, to your understanding?
It's it's a rare genetic disease that I'm not sure what triggered it, when it triggered or whatever. But my father died 10 years ago, and he was undiagnosed at the time. So I'm just happy that the research has come this far to be able to actually diagnose what this is, and that there was actually a drug company that's out there, pharmaceutical company that's out there, doing some research on it. I'm not a medical person, but basically there's plaque that surrounds the nerves and starts choking off the nerves and the peripherals of my fingers and feet, and it works its way up. I just wish I had known about this a lot earlier, but I'm happy where that I did get on the trial, and we were able to stop the progress of the disease right where it is now. So,
well, you say it kind of shuts off the nerves in your extremities, your fingers, your hands, and your feet. What types of symptoms were you experiencing? Was it numbness? Was it pain? A combination of the two? What were you experiencing to let you know that there was something really, really wrong?
Well, it started off with tingling in the fingers and a little bit of numbness, and I just figured, I'm past 60. I'm 64 today. And so that's just a natural part of getting old, and those things happen. But then I started to lose my balance. Now, I was a very active person. I used to go 100 miles an hour, and then all of a sudden I started losing my balance and falling, and I noticed that the numbness started creeping up my fingers and my toes into my feet. And that's why I went to local neurologist who did some testing, and he said, to the best of his knowledge, he says this is one of those neuropathies that we just haven't diagnosed yet. Well, that's sat well for about 10 seconds, and my wife, being a medical person, and all her friends are medical people, started doing some research. And they were able to, one thing led to another, to Johns Hopkins, where Dr. Polydefis was doing a study on this. So we went up there, we did some testing, he identified this specific disease and got me on the study as quickly as possible.
No.
So it's gotten to the point where I can't hold, I can hardly hold a pen, I can't write very well anymore. It's all chicken scratch. And I use a walker or, a scooter to get around today. I can't stand up straight, on my own. But if, I'd rather be out playing golf. But if this is where the progression of the disease stops, I'm happy just to be alive.
Now, the progression of the disease has been stopped based on your use of a newly FDA-approved drug from Alnylam. Is that correct?
Exactly.
It's called ONPATTRO. That's the trial that you were qualified for. You're getting around on a scooter these days. As far as the numbness and tingling and the pain, is that alleviated? Are you experiencing just weakness based on the disease?
No, I have. I take gabapentin, which helps relieve the tingling. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like when your arm is falls asleep, but that's 24/7 in your fingers and hands. So I take gabapentin, which keeps that in check. So that's it's not too bad. My hands are always feel like they're freezing. I can put gloves on, and when it's 90 degrees out, it won't help at all. It's just part of the nerves being out of whack with the but that's all manageable. But the progression is it didn't go. I haven't gotten any worse since I started the trial, and now the FDA approved drug. So that's what I consider, because I saw my father, rapidly go, within a year, and it followed that pattern. So I see where, it stopped where it is right now, and so I'm happy for that. It didn't go any further. And they give me a prognosis of maybe 10, 15 years. Where I probably wouldn't have had that if I hadn't run into this trial and run into this drug. Who knows what would happen?
You mentioned earlier that your father recently was it recently passed, or was it 10 years ago? You said
10 years ago.
10 years ago, and he was
10 years ago.
He was undiagnosed at the time. Was it determined after he passed that he had ATTR amyloidosis? Is that what happened, or do you just think that he's the one that passed it on to you, or could it have been your mom?
It could have been. It's mere speculation.
Okay.
My understanding is that there's a 50-50 chance that you'll pass it on to your offspring, and as it turns out, I have two brothers and a sister, so all four of us have this gene, this mutant gene that's out there, but I'm the only one who's gotten to this point. The others haven't really exhibited any symptoms yet, and we can only, without going and doing an autopsy, which we're not going to do. There's no way to tell if we got it from my father or my mother. But the good news is my daughter does not have it, and my son is adopted. So as far as my immediate family, it ends right there.
Did you have your adopted son tested just in case he has the gene from his natural parents?
No, okay. No, we haven't done that.
Well, what would
never even thought about doing that?
Well, it is a rare disease. I mean, do you know about how many people are impacted by it, roughly?
They tell me 50,000 people in the world.
Oh, and worldwide, just 50,000 people. So it is extremely rare.
Right.
So I would guess that spending the time and effort to test an adopted son would be kind of overkill on the off chance.
Yeah, at this time, because the test is it's a very expensive test, which, thankfully, Alnylam picked up the cost of all that to test us out. But, we see, no real need right now for my son to know about it. And, the other part is it would be considered a pre-existing condition if he did have it. So.
Now, are you traveling the country talking about your experiences and your progress with ONPATTRO from Alnylam?
It's all by radio and telephone interviews so far. I mean, if they wanted to, send me around the country, it'd be a little difficult. It'd be a challenge because I can't travel alone. That's one of the downside. I used to be able to just pack a bag, without notice, jump on a plane, go anywhere in the country. Now it takes a little bit of planning, and I need my wife to travel with me to help me get around.
Thank you for talking with us today. I'm glad that you took the time and gave us some insight into your experience, and also to talk about your progress and the success with Alnylam's recently FDA-approved drug ONPATTRO. Thank you so much, Rick, for joining us today.
My pleasure.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Transcripts and audio of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, listen in, and download at SoundCloud. And be sure and visit our affiliates page at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au.
Thank you for listening to Health Professional Radio. We're very proud to be an independent broadcaster providing our content free of charge to you, the listener. One of the ways that we're able to remain free and independent is by having people like you become patrons. You can support Health Professional Radio simply by visiting hpr.fm and clicking the button that says Become a Patron. Your patronage of even just $1 a month lets us know that you're there, which in turn makes us more valuable to advertisers. And, of course, if you're able to afford more, then we would certainly appreciate the support. My name is Toby Longhurst from Health Professional Radio. Please visit hpr.fm, click the Become a Patron button, and support us if you can.